Welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. I'm Roberta Saphire, an attorney in Sharon. And
I'm Camille Barron, a financial coordinator and healthcare advocate, also in Sharon, Massachusetts. Now today we have two exceptional guests. Truly exceptional. And I'd like to introduce one of them. Roberta Saphire is one of our guests.
And the other one is Camille Barron. And this is one of our behind the scenes that everybody writes to us and says we want more, and they send us ideas and everything else. But today there was a topic that came up about social media. And not just social media, but where you put things about reviews, like if you go to a restaurant or different things, you buy something,
yes,
and you do reviews on it. The question is, what does a business do when they get a bad review? Do they call the people up? Do they, in these places, there's more of them coming up besides there's Yelp. What are some of the others? Just plain Google. They're all getting into it.
Yes.
FaceTime, Facebook. Not FaceTime. FaceTime is where you
right. Facebook, you mean?
Yeah, Facebook.
Yeah.
What do the businesses do?
Is that?
I'm asking you.
You're asking me.
I'm asking
okay.
our viewers.
Yeah, asking our viewers. Well, I think first of all, no matter what it is, that a service or a place you go or a product, when you look at the reviews, there's always going to be a couple of reviews that are not so favorable. But if it's really beyond that, then I think, I don't have any experience in this, but I would think that the business would want to first reach out to whoever is complaining.
That's a good idea.
And sort of a goodwill gesture, and either reach out to them directly or post something on that review. Like I think you can have a reply to a review, and you could say, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. We try very hard to do.
That sounds
I mean, that's
good.
one way of doing it. I don't know if there's any others. I mean, I suppose if it escalates, it could get you could be even more direct about it too.
Yeah, without bringing lawsuits.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess ultimately, if nothing else works and it's damaging the business reputation, is the lawsuit for slander a possibility?
Yeah, it's like the old story of the person who brings in a bug to the restaurant and then ends up with a free meal.
Oh yeah, right.
You hear of those?
Yeah.
I don't do that.
No.
Anyway, but anyway.
What's this little thing you got on the front of the table?
This is a police car toy, and what's interesting is, I'm trying to see, this says Highway Patrol, but what's interesting is even in a toy, it says call 911. So call 911 is everywhere, and that's one of the pages in our police officers are our friends book. And it's interesting, little children pretty well know to call 911.
They're well trained. Yes,
And
I mean,
they
there's been
have.
cases when you
Yeah.
watch something on TV, on the news or something, where the kid knew.
Yeah, and for everybody who has signed up, we have a ton of people that have signed up for a new Sharon second edition book, and this is ready to go to the printer. It's all done. All the pages are new, and it's really very, very popular. And then again, too, by popular request, we have put from different police stations, we've put together, or almost finished with it, another book from all the different police stations so that new police stations can get an idea of what pictures they have.
Fantastic.
So, I mean, it's really very, very popular. But I see you have something there. I know what it is, but I don't know if our guests do.
Well, yes. This, you know, a lot of people from time to time will ask, am I going to be able to retire? And you can't give them an absolute answer, but one of the things that we try to emphasize is before you can answer that question, we really have to do a little bit more of a foundational review, because retirement is only one of many financial goals that a typical person or family has. And you want to make sure that everything else is in place, then you can look at retirement. So this is a financial pyramid, and all it really does is just sort of makes it a simple way to identify. So on the bottom of the pyramid is this purple block, And the first thing you have to do is take an assessment of where you are today.
Why don't you take them all off and then put them back on one by one? Is that too hard?
No.
To do there?
No, not at all.
Because I think you can understand it better. And while you're doing that, we can remember to talk about what we're doing for financial literacy
Absolutely.
afterwards. Yeah, there
So
you
you
go.
take
These
you take a kind of a snapshot in time, and the way that I like to advise people to do it is treat yourself as though you're a business, and do a very simple balance sheet. You total up your assets. Typically, people will own a home and maybe have some retirement accounts and other things like that. And then you on the other side, you total up your liabilities, which could very well be a mortgage, maybe other loans or car payment. And then the difference between the two is your net worth. So you want to find out where you stand today, and is that acceptable to you? Whether it is or not, you also want to do another thing that businesses typically do, but individuals and families should really be doing the same thing, is how are you managing your finances on a day-to-day basis? And that in the business world, would be called an income statement.
Yeah, and we have a saying, if you can't manage your finances, you can't really manage your life.
Exactly.
So that's very important,
Right.
what you're showing people.
And so
here.
the income statement, otherwise known sometimes as a budget, it could be as simple or detailed as you want it to be. Personally, I have a very detailed one it's a spreadsheet that has every single month of the year for monthly expenses, and then quarterly and semi-annually and annually. And I do a lot of detailed analysis, but that doesn't have to be. Somebody could just make a simple spreadsheet or even just a simple page that just shows.
Do you follow it? I know you make it up, but do you follow it? Then do you follow it, or it lets you decide
Yes.
wise choices?
Yeah, you can at least see where you might be overspending
yeah.
or not, and at least you have the information to make changes if you choose to.
Oh, true. That's wonderful.
The next area that is sometimes overlooked, unfortunately, is this green box, which I call risk management. But essentially, those are things like insurance, for instance. If you have a home, chances are you're going to have insurance to cover in case something happens to the home. Same thing if you drive a car, you should have insurance. In fact, in most places, it's mandatory. And on top of that, most everyone should have a personal umbrella policy, personal umbrella liability.
What is that?
And that means that, let's say you have an accident and you're responsible for the accident. Your automobile insurance might cover you up to a certain amount, maybe $500,000 of liability, but we all know that lawsuits can be much higher than that. Somebody could sue you for an accident, especially if there's severe damages. So typically people will buy what they call an umbrella liability policy, and that covers the difference between what the basic policy covers and anything else beyond it. So that's a type of risk management. There's also risk management in the marketplace. So for instance, if somebody has IRAs that are invested in certain types of investments, if they're heavily invested in stock, it could be that the market goes down, and it might be right at the time that they want to retire. So sometimes financial advisors will sort of adjust the mix from stocks to bonds and other types of investments.
Do they have risk managers just for stocks and bonds?
There are financial risk managers, yes. In fact, that really is the role of a financial advisor, is to also assess risk. That's probably one of the key assessments. So one person and the other, they might have the exact same amount of funds to invest. And one person may be risk averse, so they want to have a more stable type of investment portfolio, maybe more bonds, and someone else may be more likely to want to take chances. Age has a lot to do with it too. Typically if you're going to be in the market a long time, the stock market is still the best way to go. But we always advise people to seek the advice of a trusted financial advisor when it comes to that sort of thing. And then we have long-term goals. Now this is where the retirement planning comes in. So this person who's asking, will I be able to retire? They're interested in whether they can meet their long-term goal of retiring. Well, first of all, you want to find out, what does retirement look like for you? If you want to be traveling all over the world and doing things that you didn't have time to do before, you have to come up with some sort of an estimate of what it's going to cost you to be retired. And equally, getting back to risk management, there are, it's very likely that as we age, more people are aging, we're living longer, you have to consider health. And the fact is that as we age, we may get to a point where we need some sort of assistance with the activities of daily living. So retirement may ideally look like what you want it to, but you have to be prepared. Again,
Yeah.
risk management.
Also, retirement, you still need money to live on. Sometimes you need more money.
Exactly. You may need more money depending on the lifestyle that you want. And secondly, today the biggest risk in retirement is outliving your assets.
Oh yeah, I
we
remember
didn't
one guy
have-
said, I live too long.
You live too long.
I live longer than my money.
Yes, exactly, but that's a real
I
problem.
live less than my money.
And now typically what financial advisors will do is they'll plan a phased retirement. So they'll plan the first 10, maybe 15 years of retirement, and then a middle phase, and then a final stage, so that they're able to draw income from their assets on a sort of a planned phased basis so they won't run out of money.
Where do they put these assets so that they don't run out of money?
Well, they invest them, and again, that's the advice of a financial advisor to help them with that. I'm not a financial advisor per se, I'm more of helping to put the pieces all together.
I see.
And then the next thing is short-term goals. Well, maybe when you retire, to save money on your living expenses, maybe you're considering downsizing. So you might want to sell your house and buy a different property, or maybe you want to have a secondary home somewhere, to Florida or Arizona. So you have shorter-term goals, vacations to Europe.
How about Alaska? No?
Cruises to Alaska are very popular.
No, I didn't say cruise. I'm saying relocate to Alaska.
Relocate.
Nobody ever says that, do they?
No, not that I've known of. But people take cruises around
Yes,
Alaska.
I hear that.
Yeah. So again, you have to also be able to figure out, if you have a goal like that, you want to be able to, if you're going to invest money, have it work for you in the meantime between now and then. You want to have shorter term investment goals.
Fascinating.
And then lastly, people tend to think of this as something that other people need and not they. But estate planning, sometimes known
very
as legacy
important.
planning, and that
Everybody needs that.
everybody needs that. I had an aunt one time when I was telling her about estate planning. Oh, well, I'm not in that category. I don't need estate planning. Oh, I said, everybody does. Because you own a house, right? And she said, yes. I said, even just owning a house and you have 4 children, what's going to happen when you're no longer here? You have to have at least the minimum basics of estate planning. You have to have a will.
Didn't they end up all fighting over it?
Yes, and that's what happened. In fact,
funny.
when I worked at one of the companies I used to work for, and part of my role was life insurance as well as financial instruments. So there's one family that the mother had died. I think the father had already been deceased. And there were 3 children, 2 brothers and 1 woman. She lived in Florida and they lived locally. One of the brothers lived with the mother, took care of her. The other brother, I don't know, he didn't live in the house. And the brother who lived with the mother insisted that he deserved more because he took care of the mother. Meanwhile, the other 2 didn't really have an issue with that. But in the meantime, the mother had given her some of her valuable jewelry, including the mother's engagement ring. And so she, the woman, left it in the mother's house in a drawer. And it was very special to her because it was her mother's engagement ring. Well, when she went back after the mother died, the ring was nowhere to be found. And the only one who had access to that, she claimed, was her brother. And they were in a big fight about that. Now,
You don't know. That's
Yeah.
why you need surveillance even in
is
a
that
house.
right? Even with the family. So,
Yeah.
so the
It's too
point is
bad.
that there are many different requirements if you want to have a sound financial future. Retirement is only one of many things that you have to have in place in order to make it a successful retirement and have the rest of your life be protected from other things that could go wrong.
Do you find, that was excellent, by the way, bravo. Do you find that the people that are in trouble with retirement, I mean, I don't know, didn't have good, proper financial planning at the beginning or middle of their life? Don't you think it starts right
It does,
early?
absolutely does. And especially because, for instance, Social Security, you know, people, when they start working, they're accumulating quarters, they call it. You have to have 40 quarters of income. And
Social Security is not enough to live on.
for the most
You know,
part,
Social Security is counted as income,
yeah.
but you already paid taxes on it. That's what doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's a formula if it's above us, and I don't know the exact formula because again, I'm not a financial
I don't think
expert.
anybody does.
But you know, I would advise people who are in that position to talk to their financial advisor, and it's important that you have a trusted financial advisor because, again, I'm not in a position to advise you on your finances, but I can help you with putting these pieces together and coordinating. But yes, Social Security, it's tough to live on just Social Security.
I don't think it's possible.
Some people have no choice.
But you know why? Because your Medicare, Medicaid, whatever it's called,
Medicare.
it comes out of your Social Security.
Well, if you don't
Same
have,
thing.
if you're not taking Social Security now, for
Oh, then
instance,
it's not coming out
if
of
it's
it.
if you don't yet want to take Social Security because you want to have the funds accumulate so you'll get more when you do take it, you still have to pay the $134 a month plus whatever surcharge.
I think you have to take Social Security at some point.
70.
Oh, it's 70?
Yeah.
But then they take the Medicaid or Medicaid, whatever it's called, they take that out of there, so
They
you're
do.
paying that.
Yeah, but you're still paying it anyway, even if you're not yet taking
Oh,
Social
yeah, but I mean, you end up with next to nothing.
Yeah, it's difficult. So the people who, you're talking about planning early, again, your financial advisors should be able to think not only now, but what's going to happen
Yeah.
down the road. And you're right, the sooner you start, the more successful you'll be. Even
Right.
if you don't make a lot of money right now, this is the bottom. You have to figure out where you are right now.
That's
And
true.
no matter what it is, you have to do it. You have to start where you are and do the best you can to reach where you want to be.
That's interesting. Well, we were one of the beginners bringing financial literacy to Sharon, and the state of Massachusetts, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, has recognized that importance. And it was suggested to us, like we bring, I don't know what happened to this book. It got a little twisted here. Everybody see it? This one's Bedford. But anyway, they have a nice back cover. But Sharon has a nice back cover too.
Yes,
Tribute to
that's a beautiful
Chief
one.
Kaufman. We're teaching children at a young age that police officers are our friends. Our advisory board, we have an advisory board, said aim for the older teenager and the college students and teach them financial literacy, because if they don't know that, you know, it's like I say, if you can't plan financially your money, how can you manage your life?
Well, look what happened with the financial reality fair that we did a few years ago, where we were instrumental. We were part of the
Right.
startup team for that. But remember how some of the students came out of that, and they had to go around and figure out what their expenses were going to be for each category of living.
I think we had one of them on Rosie Warren, if anybody remembers her. We also had this jar of Tootsie Rolls, and she guessed it within two of them. It was like 800 and I don't
Impossible.
even remember. And she and her friend, I forget who was from, but they were saying what they got out of that reality fair. I think they're juniors or seniors in college now.
Yeah.
But I mean, they really got a lot out of that. But what we're thinking now is we're aiming, and we're going to make. We used to have that Brighten Up Club. And hopefully, it's still going at the school. Brighten Up for Financial Reality, and what they did, kids said what they did to get members was one offer candy. You have to have candy for any club to be successful. But the other, make a game out of it. Make a game out of them learning financial reality. And the more kids that learn and the more people that know about finances and financial reality, the less they'll get scammed.
Exactly. And by the way, to our viewers, please, if you have children who are in that age bracket, say 15 to 20, they're home for the summer, we'd love to have them join our team and help us with this financial literacy for older teenagers.
Yeah,
and
we're
college
working
students.
on different things, and
Yeah.
it's not just us. I think for the federal government might have some of these quote games. I mean, it's a great way. It's a great
Yes.
way. Like the question I always ask, and I always get a no, is do you know what available funds are in your bank account? I mean, most of these teenagers don't have a bank account. You know what's interesting? We were taking a survey on charge cards, like how do your parents, like a 16, 17-year-old, how do you get money from your parents if you don't have a job of your own? But Ethan, how do you get money? You just say, I need this. Do they give you your own charge account with a limit? Do you have a debit account? Do you have so much money allowance? I mean, it's very, very interesting, and depending upon how the parents did it, that's the way they do the kids. So whether you have money or not, I don't know. How did you do it with your daughter?
Well, my daughter worked from the time she was 14. She had a part-time job. So the essential things, naturally, I always bought for her as her parent, but there were certain things that she wanted. You know, she wanted the latest and greatest phone. Well, I would be able to pay for her with a basic phone because I want to always know that she's safe, and if she needed me right away, she could call, or if I wanted to know where she was or what she was doing. But above and beyond that, if she wanted all these bells and whistles, then that would be her responsibility.
You have the friends call you. That's how
That's
you
right.
find out.
Yeah.
You know, that's interesting because years ago, when my kids were younger, they're in their 40s now, there were no cell phones.
No.
So they didn't have one. I remember my daughter all excited to get their own phone, their own children's phone,
Yeah.
in the house.
In the house.
and,
Right.
and then you say, well, who called who here?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
And that's interesting.
Well,
so this is what we're
now what I-
achieving. We got more interns too, more
Sure.
team. We have our newest. What is she called? That title, General Development.
Oh, business manager?
Rebecca Greenberg.
Our business manager?
Our business manager, Rebecca Greenberg. She's an attorney. She was with the federal district court. I'll probably get corrections afterwards. For 27 years, although she only looks like 30. And
she's a gem.
She is. She's worthy of a Saphire.
She's smart, and she does an excellent job. She's so organized, and she has initiative. It's wonderful to
Yeah,
have
and
her
the
on our
team members. We call them team members. If you join us, you'll become a team member. You'll become a person. You'll feel real good about yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, we do a lot of work.
And it goes a long way for people who might be seeking a job or a referral for a job. It really looks good on the resume.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, we've had some kids who've gone on to college and they used us as a reference.
Oh, yeah. Jobs, too. Summer jobs.
Yeah.
We have, as a matter of fact, the last time we did a behind-the-scenes thing, we got 2 calls.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we were asked by Wareham Cable Access to be on their show. The woman, it's interesting, the woman who ran the show looked all over for people. She wanted somebody on financial literacy, and she looked all over, and it's not just how much we know, but it's the way we interact.
Yes.
And
that's right.
she says, what would it take, like 5 months back and forth?
Back and forth to
Yeah.
find the time.
We'll
Yes.
we have a few followers in Wareham, Mass.
Yes.
But I wanted to read. I wanted to read.
Is it time
this.
yet for You've Got to Be Kidding?
I think it's almost time, but not quite. But this is a good one. I know we got a few. You've got to be kidding. And this was sent in.
Can I give you a real quick one first, and then
Oh,
you read it?
sure. No,
okay,
go
because
ahead.
while it's still
Yeah.
on my mind,
No, go
you
ahead.
talked about how young people might not know certain things about financial literacy.
Yeah.
God help
Yes.
me. But my late aunt,
Oh,
she was like 80 something, and I used to drive her when she wasn't driving anymore, but she just still had things to do. So I used to take her to the bank to go to the ATM machine, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we go to the ATM machine, I'm driving, I put the card in, and she says $60. So I say, okay. So 320s comes out, right? And I said, here's your money. Oh, okay. She says, how come they always give you 20s?
Oh, yeah.
I
That's a
said,
good
well,
question.
that's because the machine dispenses it in 20s so people can have, they'll be able to get the amount that they want, $40, $60, $80, $100. And she's looking, you mean there's a machine that dispenses that money and not a person? I said, right, it's a machine. She didn't know that. She thought it was a live person someplace. It's like the teller, the outside teller.
To be kidding.
You know, the drive-up window. She thought it was something like that where somebody gives you the money.
Yeah,
You've got to be kidding, right?
Yeah, you've got to be kidding. I'm just thinking, how often do those ATMs make a mistake?
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes they don't work. I know that.
Oh, I thank God.
All right, you go now.
Okay, I go now. This is a law case. This is called the Ghostbusters ruling, and this took place in New York, where the buyer sued the seller because the house had paranormal activities in it.
Okay.
She said they had ghosts that would shake things and move things, that would pinch, and she actually won the case. Do you believe that?
No.
You say you got to be
You got to be kidding.
Yeah, no, and it's a whole, look at this opinion. This is the opinion. It's like 7 pages. Imagine that they would, even a Supreme Court, I think it's at the appellate Supreme Court in New York.
And what was the basis of that decision?
What happened was she owned, probably was up in the Catskills, I'm not sure where it was, Nyack, New York. I don't know where that is, but New York is more than just New York.
Right.
But what happened was the people owned the house, and they sold it, and they even on tours said it was a haunted house. So they let everybody know it was a haunted house, but for some reason the buyer, the new buyer, did not know it was haunted, so to speak. But more than haunted, like these strange things happened. And so she claimed that her grandchildren received gifts and then they would disappear, or that
the grandchildren would disappear, or the gifts would disappear.
That's a good one. The gifts would disappear. But anyway, I was thinking of something to say, but I would have been sorry. But anyway, so they ended up, they said that they didn't know it was haunted and that the seller should have disclosed that. I think it's ridiculous. I don't know how they went on like that. Here, but then it says when the original owner said that they you know what too? It was a waterfront home. It was a mansion. Waterfront home, but it had been in disrepair.
Yes.
And there were books written about this and everything. I can't wait to read all about it. I mean, this is absolutely fascinating. There were stories wrote, probably shows. We have to wrap it up, but I really find it fascinating. I heard years ago that there are people in our town that hold these seances and everything to talk to the hereafter.
Yeah.
You heard about them?
Not specifically.
No, I heard about here.
Oh, really?
And somebody said, oh yeah, they're right around there. And then I let it drop because I really didn't believe it. I think once you're gone, or maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? I do know one thing for sure. You're going to wrap up now.
Okay. All right. So our viewers, thank you very much for watching this episode. And we're pleased to be both hosts and guests today. And again, please let us know if you have anyone who might be interested in joining our team and helping us with this financial literacy project. It's very important. And I want to thank our guest, Roberta.
Oh, and Camille.
And Camille. And we're going to wrap up now. Please let us know if you have any ideas or questions. We'll be happy to help you. Because remember...
We'll give away the toy, too.
Sure. Because remember, this is your show, The Law, Your Money, and You.